Hey guys, I'm Lily O'Reilly. You're watching Lily O'Reilly Reviews, and today we're going to be doing a housing upgrade on my Tliltocatl albopilosus. It's a curly-haired tarantula. There are going to be spiders in this video, so if you're sensitive to such things, now is a great time to skip out and find something else. But if you're down, let's get to it. Okay, so some of you might remember my earlier video of, an arachnophobe unboxes her first tarantula. That was when I got my baby. I really wanted to wait and do this after I had finished redoing my room. I'm putting in a bunch of bookshelves and doing a lot of redecorating, but she outgrew her old cage with a quickness, so I figure today we'll get at least a basic new cage knocked together. Eventually, I want to set this up as a full bioactive, having things like populations of springtails in there, have plants growing, get a fully fleshed out biome. But right now, I'm not super familiar with the biomes of Nicaragua and Costa Rica, which is where she's from. One or the other. I'm defaulting to saying she. I have not sexed it because this little creature keeps molting in her burrow and I can't get to it without digging her out, and I'm not willing to do that to her. So, let me show you what we're working with. Okay, not the best, but I also don't want to harass her right now. This is the 5.5 gallon glass tank I'm going to be moving her into. It has a custom made acrylic insert for the top, courtesy of my super awesome roommate. It has a ton of little holes for ventilation. Now, this tank came with a mesh locking top that is completely unsuitable for tarantulas. Tarantulas have tiny little claws at their ends of their tiny little feet, and if they get a tiny little claw in here, they can actually hang upside down, and it can force them to detach the leg. In some cases, you can lose a leg entirely, and in worst case, they can actually bleed out or lose all of their interstitial fluid. They can also chew through it. And I do not want anything loose in my house that can chew through metal, personally. So, I'm going to pop you off here and see if I can get a close-up of her, because she is out right now. She's been super active lately. Yep, there she is. There's my big fat girl. As you can tell, her old cage, which was meant for juveniles, she's almost completely outgrown. It is more than time to upgrade her to a larger case. This small one right here is what the crickets currently live in. Cricket food. The water is over there. And I'm going to do a substrate of coconut core. And yes, before you ask, I'm not going to handle her. I am a hands-off spider keeper. Thank you. So, plan right now is to pull everything out, put a brick of core in the bottom, wet it down, give it a chance to break down. Currently, to feed my crickets, I am using an old container of Fluker's high calcium cricket diet. Honestly, it's probably expired. I found it when I was cleaning. They don't mind. She's growing fine, so I'm not fussed. The crickets are standard pet store variety. They're nothing exciting. She is very, very hard to get pictures of with the glare on the container. But she's beautiful. Her little case has been... It was a good fit. There's a little hide buried in here. There's some fake plant. She had a little water dish. She excavated most of the bottom, which I can't show you without making her uncomfortable. So tweezers because they're a very, very good way to move crickets, things in the tank, everything without putting my fingers in. And my giant 3-brick block of core. I'm getting ready to get one of my friends started up with a vermicomposter, so I'm probably going to give him the other 2 bricks. I'm going to pull 1 brick out, put it in here, hydrate it. I'll come right back. I just realized not everybody knows what coconut core is. So, it comes in bricks. It is a dried, compressed version of the husk of coconut. And it's super useful because it's fairly biologically inert when you use it in a terrarium, vivarium, whatever. As substrate, it does a really good job of holding its shape, holding a decent amount of moisture. You can grow things in it. Pretty much everything likes to live in it. Her old container had core in it. My Sonoran king snake has a 200-something gallon tank that is chock full of coconut core. I probably put 8 or 10 bricks in there, plus soil, plus everything else. That's a different video. But for this one, I'm thinking 1 brick will do. For hydration, I'm using most of a gallon of heavily dechlorinated tap water. I'm not particularly worried about the minerals, but I did make a point to dechlorinate because tarantulas are fairly sensitive to things like that. That should do it. I filled it about halfway up the coconut. Maybe a little more. There we go. Now, because this is so moisture starved, you can actually hear it soaking up the liquid. 1 sec. So I'm gonna give it probably half an hour for that. You can already see where it's swelling and changing shape. Yeah, it'll do just fine. On deck, I have a piece of cork that I salvaged from Danger Noodle, my snake's tank, that I'm going to use as a hide for her. It might have some isopods, it may have some springtails already in it. To be completely honest, I'm not concerned. I know that there are people who say that you can never ever put isopods with tarantulas. This is because isopods are carnivorous. They're actually how I dispose of mice that my king snake doesn't eat. They're freeze-thawed. I'm not doing this to live ones. Because isopods are carnivorous, they can eat your spider. They really can. The ways that you mitigate this include keeping enough shit in here for them to eat, keeping an eye out so that if you have a population boom of isopods, you can go in and physically remove them. I had isopods and springtails in with the spider when she was a baby, and I honestly saw her predating on the isopods on more than 1 occasion. I would feed her, but in between feedings, she would snack on isopods, especially the big fat ones. So I'm going to tentatively, I'm not going to introduce them. I'm planning on introducing springtails. If I do have an isopod population, it's not going to freak me out. Isopods are roly-polies. They're little pill bugs. So I'm just going to kind of let it ride. If I notice I'm getting a large population, I'll cull them, but they seem to be doing well for now. We'll see. I am a huge fan of Tom Moran and the Tom's Big Spiders channel. He has some very strong opinions on isopods, and I respect them, but I've never had an issue with isopods in any of my other setups, and for my own scientific knowledge, I gotta try because the reviews are real mixed. I'm gonna bring you over so you can see how much it's already swollen up. Like just in that little bit of time, this thing has already grown. So I'm going to, come here you. I'm going to get my gloves, break this up, get it into the water so that it can soak up the rest of it, and we'll kind of see how it pans out. So as you can see, even though I'm breaking off the top layers that are hydrated, these inner layers that are light brown have not been fully hydrated yet. They literally pull off in big flakes. So even though it seemed like a lot of water at first, this is actually a really good amount to actually get this rehydrated quickly. And I'm not bothered by the fact that there's a more humid layer at the bottom that actually lets her decide how much humidity she wants to dig down into. There's still some bits that need to like finish rehydrating, but I'm going to go ahead and put in the cork bark. Now this is a big piece. It may have some springtails or isopods already in it. I'm going to dig out a little bit of a channel and then install it so that she has kind of a pre-made burrow so she'll feel safer. Yeah, I don't like that. We're going to switch that around. Now, I'm installing this with the full knowledge she's going to remodel it however she wants. This is just a suggestion. She's perfectly capable of burrowing, so I'm gently stuffing some of the substrate back down in there and compacting it a little bit to give her a floor. Alright, so to be honest, that's about as much work as I'm going to put into it right now. It's a nice little enclosure. It has what she needs, and I am completely open. If anyone has suggestions on Nicaraguan, Costa Rican, Honduran plants that might go well in this sort of environment. Now, as far as the actual transition, I'm chicken. Hang on, I'm going to show you the cage first. Not much, just coconut core and a cork for now. So now we have a really lovely tank, and I gotta figure out how to get a spider in there. I, as I said, am very hands-off. I don't like touching her. I don't think it's good for her, good for me, or good for anyone involved. So I'm going to delicately remove all the things that need to come out, such as her water dish. It's very fancy. It needs replaced with a new one soon, but for right now it'll do. And her two little balls that keep the crickets from trying to climb in it and drown. I'm going to gently remove her fake plant, which she has done some webbing on, but nothing major. We're going to tuck it in a corner over here in the back. Make things feel homey. And then to be quite honest, I'm going to set her container on the side, and I'm just going to let her come out in her good time. So we can check back in on her tomorrow and see if she came out. I'm just going to very gently tip her over, and hopefully she meanders out on her own, because I am not touching her. Okay, so her burrow is right here. I'm going to probably go this way so that she can come out of the burrow and I don't have to worry about it collapsing on her. Yep, that should work nicely. Okay, so as you can see, she has vacated her housing. She went ahead and moved in underneath the larger piece of bark that we have here. I took the remaining soil from her old enclosure and spread it down as a top layer to preserve the springtail populations. I also went out to a local craft supply store, picked up some absolutely, utterly fake plants. All of these, very fake. Because everything that I looked into said that if you try to put live plants in with a tarantula, they're going to rearrange them, and you're constantly going to be fighting it. So for now, I have removed a large portion of the isopod population. She made her home under here. As you can see, she's created quite a bit of a dirt curtain where she's tunneled underneath and pushed the cocoa core up and out from under her bark. I'll include a couple pictures that I got of her during the transition so you can see how she's looking. I also included another smaller bark hide for when live crickets are induced so that she has to hunt them. And overall, that's the new look of the tarantula cage. Once she molts or she comes up again for any appreciable period of time, I'll be sure to get a picture and show it to y'all. And as always, if you would like to keep up with the things I do, the spider updates, the rest of the channel, please feel free to subscribe. You can find me anywhere that I exist online at beacons.ai/Lilibunt. And if you'd like to toss me a couple bucks on Ko-Fi, always appreciated, never required. That's at ko-fi.com/LilyO'Reilly. So, yeah, I will keep you in the loop regarding my delightful little arachnid, and talk to you guys later. Bye!